Why am I showing you this animal? Well, it's because the skin the thing is that this animal can be used to make the handle of a knife. I'll talk about why I talked about that later. For all you know now, need to know right now that the handle right there is made of buck. Yeah, well, let's just get this started with. Let's get the video started. One very crucial thing you should know that before we start is that there are a lot of things in life that even I don't know, but then again we'll have to do it. But for now we'll just be talking something about bucks. And I don't mean dollars. There's been a lot of things that's been going on since we started making up this word. Or idiom, whatever. But the word is originally something from something called buck passing. And why is it called buck passing? Remember that thing I told you about? That the handles of some knives were made of the buck's parts? Well, it turns out that this time was around the place that you might call the Wild West. Hang on. Hee-haw! It's raining horses and cows. Wait, I meant it's raining dogs and cats. Sorry about that. Anyways, the tradition started like this. Take a couple of people playing poker. Now, they usually have an object. They usually have an object or something where there is a marker or a counter like this knife with a buckhorn handle. Now, this buckhorn handle knife was used to indicate the person whose turn it was to the deal. If that person didn't want the deal, they could just pass the buck to someone else. And if that person didn't want to do it too, didn't want to make the deal too, that person would also pass the buck and repeat. So that's where the origin came from. A simple knife that was passed around so that someone else will get the responsibility. Well, this started evolving, and eventually it became a phrase called pass the buck, meaning to shift responsibility to someone else. I know I ended my idiom series long ago, but then again I decided maybe I should just talk about this. So this is an example. Let's say there are two people, a boss and his employee. The boss says that because of your lazy work, our company lost so much money. And then the other person says that, boss, it isn't me who changed the pricing. I wrote it correctly. It's only my stupid manager who changed the price. Minute. He's always trying to not take responsibility and pass the buck to someone else. I'm sick of him. Pause. See what I mean? I ended my series with a 260th video. My 50th episode was deleted because I accidentally put my bare foot on it, so I probably have to remake that video someday. And then again, they always get up to 0 to 9 views, so that's not bad pretty much for me. Speaking of, check out the video, it's my longest series. My second longest series is Dark Sean. Not longest yet. Check out my Dark Sean playlist too, BTW. And then eventually it also evolved and made another idiom called the buck stops here. And so let me give you a few examples. Harry S. Truman, the 33rd President of the United States of America, had a little sign on his desk that said the buck stops here. This was given to him by a prison warden who was an avid player of the game, you guessed it, Pokemon. Wait, what? No, it's poker. Yeah, that's right, poker, no wonder. President Gerald R. Ford used the phrase in a speech that was pardoning Richard Nixon on September 8th of 1974, which is one of the top 100 speeches by American rhetoric. It is number 93, BTW. And so yeah. But instead of saying the buck stops here, he said, correction, he did say the buck stops here. He said,
I do believe that the buck stops here, that I cannot rely upon public opinion polls to tell me what is right.
Let's take a look at another president. Let's talk about Jimmy Carter. This guy's awesome because, well, he also got that same sign. He borrowed it from the presidential library of Harry S. Truman, and you could see it on his address to the nation on energy. Another president that used the buck stops here or the buck stops with me was this guy, Donald Trump. He said it on January 10th of 2019, 19 days into the federal government shutdown. And reporter asked President Donald Trump if the buck stops with you over this shutdown. And Trump responded with this. The buck stops with everybody. Donald Trump. Now, let me give you one more example of a US president using this. And it's actually the most recent one, too. In 2021, the US president, who is actually the current president now, I guess he's like in 2 years into his term, Joe Biden, said this in his remarks on the Afghanistan withdrawal of the United States troops. And he said,
I am President of the United States of America, and the buck stops with me.
Yep, that's what he said. And that's actually the conclusion of this episode. So I hope you guys learned something about history. And one last thing before I leave is that the buck stops here was made popular by Harry S. Truman. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Sleep tight, everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Night out. Peace.